support its military veteran population. Whereas the Purple Heart is the oldest military decoration in present use and was initially created as a badge of military merit by General George Washington in 1782. And whereas the Purple Heart was the first American Service Award or decoration made available to the common soldier and is specifically awarded to members of the United States Armed Forces who have been wounded or paid the ultimate sacrifice in combat with the declared enemy of the United States of America. And whereas the mission of the Military Order of the Purple Heart is to foster an environment of goodwill among combat wounded veteran members and their families, promote patriotism, support legislative initiatives, and most importantly, make sure we never forget. And whereas the Rockport area has a large, highly decorated veteran population, including many Purple Heart recipients. And whereas the City of Rockport appreciates the sacrifice our Purple Heart recipients have made in defending our freedoms and believe it is important that we acknowledge them for their courage and show them the honor and support they have earned. Now, therefore, I, Tim J. Rowe, Mayor of the City of Rockport, Texas, do hereby proclaim the City of Rockport as a Purple Heart City and encourage the citizens of the City of Rockport to show their appreciation for the sacrifices of Purple Heart recipients have made in defending our freedom, to acknowledge their courage and to show them the honor and support they have earned. In witness whereof, I've hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Rockport to be affixed this the 10th day of December, 2024. Do we have any Purple Heart recipient military veterans here this evening? I don't see any. We appreciate these folks. Brad has worked with some of the folks getting them this particular recognition, and I appreciate that. Thank you. You can get that to somebody. Next item on the agenda. Okay, next item is consent agenda. The following items may be acted upon in a single motion. No separate discussion or action on any of these items will be held unless pulled at the request of a member of the City Council. Does anyone wish to move any of these? No. If not, do I have a motion?
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further question? If not, we'll call for a vote. Ward 1?
Aye.
Ward 3?
Aye.
We're having problems with them hearing us.
Okay. Mayor, aye. It's unanimous. Next item, number 5, hold a public hearing to receive comments for the City of Rockport default speed limit changes and receive direction from the City Council. Chief?
Mayor, Council, I appreciate it. This isn't something that I just dreamed up as the police chief to try and lower the speed limits in the City of Rockport. I've been approached by many HOAs in our community and many citizens in our community who have a wish and a desire to lower their residential speed limits down from 30 miles an hour to 25 miles an hour. And I can tell you my initial thought whenever I was approached with this was that, well, it's going to cause the public to just speed by 5 more miles an hour. And so I started doing some research on it. And some of the research that I found is included in the packet that you have with you. And some of the research that I found, everything that I looked at was positive as far as lowering the speed limit from 30 to 25 miles an hour. And then there's a PowerPoint on there, Kimberly, with that packet. And I will go over some, we did do a speed study. The biggest push for this has come from the Country Club HOA. And so we've done some speed studies in the Country Club, and some of the results that we received from the Country Club is that there was 17.83% of all the drivers that passed the device were going over the speed limit of 30 miles an hour, with an average over the speed limit of 35 miles an hour. So that left, that still left 83% of the cars that passed were going under the speed limit of 30 miles an hour. So that's a pretty significant percentage that are still going under the speed limit of 30 miles an hour that I've got. And so, as all good police officers, we have to name it, so I named it Operation 25. Some of the purpose of this is to save lives, reduce loss and damage to property, and to make our streets overall safe. Okay? Some of the reasons that we may want to consider, that you may want to consider lowering the speed limit, is that we have very few roadways that include sidewalks. So this causes all of our pedestrians and our bicycle traffic to have to travel and commute on the actual roadway. So that's putting people in the street where all the cars are as well. Some of the studies that are included in the package show that reducing the speed from 30 to 25 miles an hour significantly reduces your chances of being seriously injured or killed if you're struck by a vehicle. And so one of the, and don't quote me on the percentages, but one of the percentages was if you get hit by a vehicle going 30 miles an hour, you have a 40-some-odd% chance of being killed or seriously injured. If you lower that to 20 miles an hour, which is not what we're presenting, but if you get hit by a car going 20 miles an hour, that lowers that percentage down to 9% chance of being killed or seriously injured. And then, of course, the neighborhood associations that have approached me, and I've also reached out to them requesting a lower speed limit in their residential neighborhoods.
Question?
We're working with audio.
The plan for Operation 25, and this obviously can be changed however we want, but we have a default speed limit in the city of Rockport of 30 miles an hour. So everything in the city of Rockport is 35 or 30 miles an hour, unless the ordinance allows for either a slower speed or a faster speed. And so what I'm presenting is, if the council wants to follow through with this, we could lower the default speed limit in the city of Rockport to 25 miles an hour. This will cover all residential areas in the city and all areas that are currently 30 miles an hour. It would lower it to 25. And then I put a copy of our ordinance in the packet as well with the proposed ordinance change. One of the other items that I found in the studies was that, are people really going to slow down even if we just lower the speed limit? Are they going to be used to 30 miles an hour? Well, one of the studies that was done in Boston, who's lowered their speed limit to 25 miles an hour, shows that the lower you make the speed limit, the more people follow the actual speed limit laws. And so if you lower it to 25 miles an hour, there's a very low percentage of people who actually speed beyond that 25 miles an hour. And so that's my proposal, and I was hoping that the public would give their opinions on what they think about this. And like I said, this is not me pushing it, this is me presenting it after being asked by the several HOAs in our community.
Okay. I have 9 people that sent in requests to let their feelings be known. We don't read these things out specifically in council meetings, but I will tell you that of the 9, we had 2 don't lower it, we had 1 lower it to 20, we had 4 lower it, and 1 I'm not real sure. So we will go from there. I have got a group of folks here that already signed up to speak. We'll do them first. This is a public hearing, so anybody that wishes to speak on this subject, you get 3 minutes. Shirley Gardner Jackson. If you'd come to the podium and give your name and address, you got 3 minutes, ma'am.
My name is Shirley Gardner Jackson. I live at 202 Champions Drive in Country Club. You may remember the address because in 2021 it flooded, and I'm still recuperating, and so is the house. However, that was God-made disaster. What we're looking at with these speeding vehicles is man-made, and we can control it. Human beings hopefully can take actions that'll keep people from being hit by these speeding cars. I walk to my mailbox The mailbox is right on the street. I look to the left. There's a curb up the street on my left. I see no cars, no trucks. I see nothing. I look to my right. On a Thursday and a Friday, both sides of Champion are blocked by the people doing the yard work. I don't see anything moving. I see double parked people and people closing it up. But I don't see anything. I look to the left again. I step off the curb. I get into the street to get my mail and zip behind me, and you can see I'm closing in on 90. And as hard as I try to get away from it, it's gonna catch me. I hope a truck or a car doesn't do it first. Something has got to be done. We've got Royal Oaks dead ends into Champions there. You put a stop sign there and that did help that. We did have a lot of 18-wheelers going through using that as a cut through. I have noticed that that has slowed down. But believe me, I lived in Hot Springs Village, Arkansas for 30 years. When I moved there, I was a young woman. My husband was very ill, and he was a lot older than I, but I was very active in Hot Springs Village. That's a gated community, but we had a lot of the same issues you have here, multiplied by the fact that our wildlife was much broader range, going to mountain lions and bears, in addition to deer and raccoons and so on. So I've dealt with the growth and the control of the traffic and no sidewalks. If I can help anybody with whatever information I have available and with whatever abilities I have left, I'd be very happy to contribute anything that might be deemed helpful. But you've got to slow these people down. Somebody's gonna get killed.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate your input.
Thank you all.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
thank you for your service and your attention, every single one of you. I've sat in your shoes in chairs over the years, and I'm just barely able at this point in time. Thank you.
Thank you. Richard Peters?
Hello, my name's Richard Peters, I'm 440 Augusta Drive in the Country Club. And I guess I'm gonna expand on the chief's report here a little bit. He mentioned 18%, that's 1 out of 5 cars speeding overall. This is a directional street. If you look at the cars going in one direction, it's over 25% in one direction are speeding. So that's that's 25%, 1 out of 4 cars is speeding down that road in that one direction. Try not to be redundant. Another point on that same report, this report that he's referring to was done over a week period. There were 3 cars reported that were going over 55 miles an hour in that same week, going down that street. Basically, some of the streets there, including our street, Augusta, is a thoroughfare. It's a shortcut to get from basically 35 business to 35, regular 35 highway, because people don't want to go through the school district, have to slow down or anything. So they come right through the country club, and they're racing down Augusta, they're racing down Champions, they're racing down Trailer, and there's another street that goes on another street. And they're using that as a shortcut. And they're racing through there because it's easier and it's faster. And that's a normal thing that goes on a regular basis there. There's some solutions to this. We talked about all the safety issues, but first one is obviously change the speed limit. And the chief referred to the fact that the slower the speed limit, the slower the cars hopefully will go. And actually, I think this discussion he and I had early on, is he said, well, cars always are gonna speed, they're gonna go to the speed limit. Well, the point is, if your speed limit's 30 and they're doing 5 over, they're doing 35. If the speed limit's 25 and they're doing 5 over, they're doing 30. So we make an impact just by reducing the speed limit because, you know, the people are, you know, the subconscious is saying, I can go a little bit and I'm not gonna get in trouble, but, you know, if I go too much, I will. Let's see, so change the speed limit. Other thing is we can get more enforcement. I probably got a tight budget and can't patrol as much as we'd like to, but more enforcement would be helpful if people realize they're getting ticketed for speeding. Speed limits are not posted very clearly in there in the subdivision there. There are probably 4 or 5, and you got to look for them. I've driven through there, and they're hidden. The signs are old. They don't stand out. They're rusting away. You know, so you don't see them very well. The last opportunity that can be used, which I know there's opposition to, is using speed bumps or speed humps on the straightaways, where people will slow down because it's gonna bother. You know, there's different varieties of the short, steep ones, which are really tough, but there's speed humps which are more gentle, but they still are very effective.
Thank you, sir.
3 minutes is up. I got
Yes, sir.
it in.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Darrel Dean.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Yes, sir.
I'm Darrel Dean. I'm the president of the Rockport Country Club Homeowners Association. I've lived in the country club for about 3 years now, and the most persistent complaint concern is traffic and safety. As you know, the entrances into the country club are Henderson, Trailer, or off of Woodland into Augusta. And the streets are narrow, and we do allow legal parking on both sides of the street. And just as the lady had mentioned, when that occurs, it's even more difficult for people with walking, bicycles, golf carts to get through there without having an accident or being hit by someone. So we encourage you and we thank you for your support. We thank the chief and also Captain Garcia for helping us do the traffic study. Without the study, obviously, we wouldn't have the basis that we need in order to make this change. But we appreciate your support and thank you for everything you do for us in the safety of the community. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Paul Burnik.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. My name's Paula Vernick. I live at 113 Cherry Hills. Mayor's my neighbor. I'm the Secretary and Director of Communications for the Rockport Country Club Estates Homeowners Association. I've served on the board for 2 years and I've lived in the country club for 3. Speeding, actual speeding or perceived speeding has been one of the most consistent safety topics brought up in the HOA board meetings by resident members who attend those meetings. And I can tell you that the sense of frustration is palpable in those meetings. As most of you know, we're a large, active residential golfing community with country club golf carts in the streets, personal golf carts, walkers, dog walkers, children, more children now, adults on bikes, and other devices moving throughout our streets on a regular basis. We have legal vehicle parking on the streets, which was mentioned by some of our residents, and workers and contractor trucks regularly congesting our roads, and that adds to the traffic hazard. In addition, we have boats and other large vehicles moving throughout our neighborhood. This is an everyday occurrence. And a number of streets, again, which has been mentioned, have blind curves, which adds to the peril of anybody who's on the street. The HOA board is restricted by the city street ordinance to have any authority over this issue. Nevertheless, over the years, we've requested speeding monitor studies, and one which has just been recently done. The Rockport Police Department has monitored speeding in the past and running of stop signs and issued tickets. Our residents, though, I can tell you, do not they don't feel like we really need any further study to know intuitively, as people who live in that community, that 30 miles per hour, particularly in certain sections of our neighborhood, is simply too fast. For the safety and well-being of our residents, I believe it's time to lower the speed limit in our neighborhood to 25 miles per hour. I'd like to thank Chief Anderson, thank you very much, for bringing the issue of speed limits forward to the City Council for us. I have read Operation 25 report and his recommendations to change the residential speed limit in the City of Rockport to 25 miles per hour with a simple ordinance change. In my opinion, there's no downside for our entire community. It's been executed in Fulton, and I say it's time for us to embrace that for the benefit of our community. I fully endorse your recommendation. Thank you.
ma'am. Ed Sullivan?
Thank you, Mayor, council members. My name is Edward Sullivan. I'm at 203 Champions Drive in Rockport Country Club subdivision. And I want to thank the chief for bringing up your due diligence and your work on your presentation. There was a little wording in there. I don't know if you can bring it back up. Said reduce speed from 30 to 25 or lower. I kind of like that or lower part more so than the 25, just to let you know. But again, 30's too fast. Too many blind curves. Vehicles parked in the streets, contractor vehicles, trash cans, people exercising. A little over a year ago, I walked to my neighbor's house next door to check their mail, and I was walking back to my house on the right-hand side in the gutter, and something brushed my hand. It was a mirror on a car that went by. And I was startled. I looked. I tried to identify the plates. I couldn't, but it was a Volkswagen. And I looked to see what else might hit me. And there was a gentleman in a white F-250 pickup. His eyes bugged out and his mouth flew open. He couldn't believe I was still standing there. I should have been knocked in the yard or run over. But I know what's going on there. I see it all the time. There's a pretty good little straightaway where I'm at, and almost 3 out of 10 people are on their cell phones. So I'm so concerned. You know, lowering the speed from 30 to 25 is great. That's fantastic, but that's not going to do much for people on their cell phones. But what would help that would be a ticket for around $300, you know, along with a speeding ticket. But anyway, we do have narrow streets, and we have to watch out for ourselves. I don't exercise there. I go to the park. I'm not walking on our streets to exercise, no way. But police enforcement would be great. Installing lighted stop signs. I've got 2 locations in mind. Bay Hills Drive, that's the first street past the country club. It's a cul-de-sac. Why not a 3-way stop sign? Go down another block, then you have Royal Oaks at Champions Drive. Another stop sign there. So there's 2, and then they still got about, 100-yard, 150-yard run before they go around that 90-degree turn before they get to Royal Oaks. That is a horrible blind spot right there. It wouldn't hurt me or bother me at all if somebody put a 10-mile-an-hour speed sign there. I don't know if we can do that. I just don't know. But I don't think speed bumps are going to happen. I don't speed humps. But anyway, thank y'all. Appreciate everything you do.
Thank you, sir. As we said, this is a public hearing. If you would like to address the council, you would like to speak, please come up, identify yourself, your address, and we'll hear what you got to say.
Kim Hesley, 2003 Tooley Park.
I hadn't planned on addressing this, but after hearing everybody from the country club, maybe you need to hear perspective outside the country club. I live on one of those streets that my husband has kind of designated the Key Allegro Highway. We kind of feel like we're a cut through for Little Bay Shores, Key Allegro, everybody going to Walmart. Our street is 20 feet wide, bar ditches, no sidewalks. A lot of people walk, bike ride. So we could definitely benefit from this. And with the impending opening of Starbucks in our neighborhood, we anticipate that traffic increasing through the neighborhood as well. So I would endorse this. Thank you for bringing it up.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Kris Scroggs. I live at 112 Peachtree in the Country Club area. Just want to thank you, first of all, for your service to our city, but our speed limits have got to change. I live on Peachtree, and it is just a cut through from Henderson over to Trailer to get to the other side of the Country Club area. They just really like to go fast on my street. And I have dogs, and I walk every day, well, most every day. Anyway, it's very dangerous out there. They do not pay attention. You know, they're on their cell phones. They're doing things other than paying attention. I would love to see the speed limit reduced. I'd also like to see the lighted stop signs. I think that would be a lovely addition to it. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Mayor J-Rowe, council members, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Martin Perea. I did send in a comment, but if you would allow me to, I would like to just speak for just a moment.
Sure.
I'm encouraged by my neighbors coming up here and saying something, and I thought I would just say a little something too. I and my wife live at 501 Lakewood Street, and it is on Lakewood and Augusta. So we get to see people coming around the corner from Champions speeding and coming the other direction from the other direction, and they're also speeding. And I too have seen people constantly looking down at their cell phone. It's terrifying because I do see my neighbors walking their dogs, walking along, and most of us are not as spry as we once were, so jumping out of the way of a car would be a little harder. I am all for reducing the speed limit to 25 and even below. I find that the speed I'm comfortable driving through my neighborhood is about 20 most of the time, even slower. But that gets me through there at a reasonable rate, and I feel like I could stop quickly if a deer jumps out, or if a child, or sometimes the golf carts or some of my neighbors. At that speed, I feel a lot more comfortable. So I do support lowering it. Thank you, Chief, for what you're doing about it, and I do encourage you all to change that speed limit and do whatever else. And if ever I can be of any help, I would be very glad to jump right in there and help out. Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
My name is Andrew Miller, Shahaba. I live at 443 Augusta. And I had something written, pardon me, but I left it behind. My problem being simply that at 443 Augusta, there's a stop sign that's within half a block of my home, and I would say 60% of the cars that go through there, they don't even stop. Okay, I live across from the Dunes cul-de-sac. When I walk my dogs, I've had to pull them off the street. This evening when I went to get my mail, there was a truck that passed my home and almost hit a deer, okay, and didn't even stop, just beeped his horn and kept going. And the deer about slipped under the man's truck. I've seen injured animals simply because they come into the country club and they simply do not slow down. And Other than that, that's about all I have to say. Thank you for your time. My husband was on the HOA for 6 years. That was always one of our complaints, and thank you for addressing that.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? If there's no one else, I think it's incumbent on me to mention that somebody in one of these letters they sent said that they heard the mayor speak at the country club some time back and said that 25-mile-an-hour change would not do a whole lot to speeders. The speeder will speed, but they will control speed in the country club because most people obey the speed limit. And that being the case, the majority of your traffic will slow down, and that creates safety for folks. And it will look like a lot more people are obeying the law than used to because the traffic will slow down. The thing that will stop speeding is people take responsibility for themselves and look at the people in the neighborhood and see that there are children playing and folks walking their dogs, and that there are people that are not as young as they used to be, and they can't get out of the way as fast as they used to, and they will take it upon themselves to be responsible for what they're doing. And I'm not real sure how we go about getting people to do that. If folks feel like that a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit is a good thing, I have no problem with that. But like I told the group back when I was talking to that group some time back, there's not a magic number that people won't violate. If we dropped it to 20, people will speed. We need to do something about the folks that will speed, and that's going to require a little bit more than expecting a patrol car to be there 24 hours a day. They can't. I told a group of homeowners out in Spanish Woods at one point, we had done a traffic study, and there was one car had gone on Spanish Woods Drive at 74 miles an hour for a stretch there. And somebody said, well, if we had a car out here, I said, from the time that car was going 74 miles an hour till it was gone past where we could count it anymore, was about 3 seconds. We can't guarantee that a patrol car can be there for those 3 seconds. So somehow we need to find a way to get people to be responsible for their conduct and to be responsible for the safety of people. And that's whether it's in the country club or Spanish Woods or Harbor Oaks or any of our other areas. But if a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit is something that the people that live there will be comfortable with, I have absolutely no problem with that. It will slow traffic down. And I appreciate the work that the chief did on it. Anyone else?
I'll just add just a little bit if you don't mind.
Sure.
So the funding and impact that this would cause, Ryan gave a rough estimate. There's approximately 130 mile-an-hour speed limit signs in and around the city of Rockport at $35 a piece or so. It'd be about $3,500 to replace all of the signs. That obviously would take some time. The speed limit wouldn't go into effect until those signs are posted, except for in areas where there's not a sign, that would be automatically 30 miles an hour. Mr. Sullivan brought up enforcement. We've had many conversations in the past. He's offered up his driveway before to put a police car in. The fact of the matter is that we aren't having a rash of people getting hit inside of our residential neighborhoods. We have some major crashes that are going on the bypass, on our major thoroughfares, and that's one of the reasons that you don't see a lot of police cars doing traffic enforcement in the neighborhoods, is because our problems are on the major thoroughfares, and that's where we spend the majority of our time. We have spent time in the country club. We've stopped the stop signs we set up there for a while. Got a lot of complaints from area residents for stopping them, because it is residents in the neighborhood who are running those stop signs.
I remember talking to David Rollins. He stopped and wrote 15 tickets off Augusta for not stopping.
Yes. And so, again, we aren't having a rash of problems in the neighborhoods, but I do believe that this would slow drivers down, and I believe specifically on these roads that are not straightaways, that have the blind curves, that 25 miles an hour would be an adequate speed for those areas. So, and there's other areas in town that have the same issue.
Okay. Any questions, council?
With your study that you did, I know you said the average speed for the people that failed to manage their speed within the posted regulation. What was the highest recording that you had captured? You can just rough estimate.
It was extremely fast. It was, I want to say it was like 60 miles an hour, if I'm not mistaken, on Augusta, which is crazy for that area. And there's 3 vehicles that were in excess. That's 25 miles an hour over the speed limit. 3 vehicles during the week-long period. I will add that we do have a new traffic study device, so we have 2 of them now. One of them is going on Picton. If it's not there already, I'll check with Captain Garcia, but we do have a second one if we want to do more traffic studies.
Appreciate it, Chief.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Chief. I know we've discussed Little Bay Shore neighborhood was one of our issues. Citizens complained about the speed through there, and I know we're working on a traffic study in there, and I like the mayor said, I have no problem with in the residential areas lowering it to 25 miles an hour. I mean, what's it hurt?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I am going to exercise a prerogative right quick. I talked to a gentleman that's got to drive to Houston if he gets out of here in time, and we've got a norther coming in, and the weather's not going to be nice. So I'm going to move item number 15 up to where we are right now, and then we'll go back to where we're supposed to be. So item 15 is receive a presentation from Pool Sure regarding the pool facility and provide direction to staff from the park director.
Mayor, is there any direction we need to provide him so
Okay.
that he can move forward with after the public hearing for number 5?
Yes, we're moving him up to right now so that he can get back in his car and go to Houston.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Council members for giving us the opportunity to address the Assembly. I am Josiah Powell. I am the manager of the repair department for Poolshire, and we have been servicing the equipment at the Rockport Aquatic Facility for about 4 years now. We have a longer history of service providing chemicals and chemical automation to the facility. As a current vendor for the Rockport Aquatic Facility, these are the deficiencies that we have identified that currently plague the facility. The lap pool filtration system has damage inside of the filters that is causing a discharge of filter sand into the pool. The lap pool circulation pumps are not providing enough water flow to meet health department requirements for sanitation, turnover, and filtration. The suction piping that flows water into the pumps is causing damage to the pumps, and we'll discuss that a little bit later. The pool lighting, currently the lights don't work at the facility, and we're going to address that. The surface of the pool, the plaster surface is pitted, and there's some delamination happening. That would be areas where the plaster is popping off of the pool shell. There is visible rust staining from rebar beneath the plaster that's showing through the plaster itself. And then the skimmer gutter has some staining, some calcification, and there's some grating around the skimmer that's damaged. Getting into the filtration system, the filters have broken internal parts. We already mentioned that it's discharging sand into the pool. That's costing a lot of time for the maintenance staff to clean up, and then it's causing the water not to filter properly. There's some, the water doesn't stay clear during the swim season. The exterior flanges of these filters are also cracking and leaking, and previous repair attempts have already been made. The reason that we're proposing to change the filters is that the Astral company who manufactures these filters no longer does business outside of Australia. Our recommended solution for the filtration system is to replace the filters with new filters from a different manufacturer of the same size. So we wouldn't be necessarily changing the design of the filtration system, just putting in new filters that have a 10-year warranty that match the existing filters. We're also we propose to build a custom piping manifold with chemical-resistant valves for controlling the water flow, and install a stainless steel strut and strap system to support the weight of the piping. So as we saw in one of the previous images, the weight of the piping is drawing down on the filters and causing some cracking. And we're proposing to install a stronger support system to help prevent that in the future. And also provide you with new gauges and flow meters for monitoring the flow of the pool. In our proposal is to correct some issues with the heater loop and eliminate multiple leak points. Diving into the pump repair needs, the valves that are too close to the pool pumps, the valves are bolted directly to the pool pumps, and we need to move those as far away as is practical to prevent turbulence in the system. I have an image here on the bottom right of pitting that is happening inside of the pool pumps that has actually eaten all the way through the housing, which is causing the pumps not to flow the water that they're supposed to. So our recommendation is to keep your current pool pump setup, however, to replace what's called the volute, which is the front end of the pool pump. And then move the valves as far away as we can get them to allow the flow to stabilize before it enters the pump system. We're also proposing to install variable frequency drives, which allow us to program the speed of the pumps for better efficiency and helps to prolong the life of them. The pool lighting system is going to be pretty simple. During our diagnostic, we were able to move the lights within the conduits, so there's not going to be a need to break up any pool deck or do any concrete work. We can simply pull new lights and cords through the existing conduit, and we're proposing to use low voltage LED pool lighting because the low voltage lights are better for swimmer safety. They help to reduce the risk of shock to swimmers. The reason that we recommend LEDs is that it extends the maintenance intervals and it also consumes less energy, which will result in some energy savings. The pool resurfacing. Here's a list of the items that we are proposing for resurfacing the pool. A premium quartz finish, tile on the benches, depth markers, a new tiled racing line at the 6-foot mark. This divides the shallow end from the deep end. There's not currently a tile divider there, so we're going to add that in. Remove and replace the contaminated rebar. We can seal up the rebar underneath the pool plaster that's causing the staining so that with the new plaster you don't have that rust spot forming. And then proposing changing out the drain covers, providing the compliance certificates, and a 28-day startup following the National Plaster Council's best practices so that we can ensure a solid warranty and the longevity of the plaster for the pool. And then doing some cleanup and resurfacing and repairing of the damaged gutters. So I'm available to answer any questions that anyone has about the facility.
Questions, council?
You stated something about the flow of the pumps. Are we not in compliance with national standards or whatever standards there may be at this time?
So Joe Riker is the Assistant Park Director. We have to manually adjust the valves and occasionally adjust the fill, which puts water into the pool, for the rate to come up to where it's in compliance. The system, we had a 20-year pool that's just a little bit beyond its life expectancy. And so the pool on its own, without manual manipulation, is not capable of keeping a continuous flow rate that is within the specification. So let me just give you a 2-second overview. So this is our current vendor. They identified symptoms and provided solutions. Just to be clear, we agreed this before they came, but they're not making a sales pitch. This is, when he says we, speaking about the pool service industry, we need to go through the appropriations process the right way to decide who will do these things. But they're all interconnected. There's no sense relining the pool if the chemicals are incorrect. There's no sense fixing filtration when we have to take all the water out to fix the liner. So that's interconnected. And, you know, we've had difficulty keeping the chemical where it's supposed to be because without the proper flow and filtration, the automatic chemical feed gets false readings. It's improper. So that's being done manually as well at the moment. So if you have any other questions based on that, happy to help.
So Mayor and Council, in the last bond sale at the budget time, you set aside money for the pool. It's going to be $500,000, a little more maybe. We wanted you to know what you're looking at spending your money on. It is going to have to go through a full RFP process because the vendors that we have talked to are not on buy board, and we don't have a pre-established contract with anyone. So it will be a full RFP process. This is just a heads up, what we're replacing, what we're spending your money on. We'll come back at a later date for you to accept the contract.
Thank you very much. Be careful driving back to Houston. Back to where we were. Item number 6, request for rezoning for property located at 2231 State Highway 35 bypass, also known as West Terrace, Unit 2, Block 1, Lot 41, 150 feet by 55 feet to B1 General Business District, currently zoned R1, First Single Family Dwelling District. We will conduct a public hearing on this subject. If you're here to talk about that, is the person requesting the change here?
Yes, she is.
I was requesting a rezoning from R1 to business because we plan on putting, our plan is to put at least 1 or 2 tiny cottages on the lot. And in order to do so, it needs to be commercial. Just because we've also had hardship as well with the bypass kind of taking a little piece of our lot, and that kind of with our, I'm sorry, I went blank. With our setbacks to build, because the minimum square foot on there, I believe, is like 800. So we came with the idea of putting tiny cottages there, and I know a lot of people's concerns was they didn't want it to be business because their probably idea of that is a plaza or something commercial, but these would essentially be tiny homes, which would kind of consider be looking like residential. And so that's kind of what we planned on putting there in that lot.
All right. Are there other folks here that would like to address this particular matter?
Council. I believe in your packet there's about 10 objections to the rezone. Of those 10, it represents 8 of the properties within the 200-foot boundary. I did a workup on the square footage. If 20% of the total square footage of the 200-foot boundary objects, it creates a supermajority vote. meaning that in order to pass the rezone, only one council member can vote no. The rest have to vote in the affirmative. So the required 20% square footage was 48,033.1 square feet. The total square foot of the objections is 80,312.4 square feet. So it is a supermajority vote. And the Planning and Zoning Commission did, by unanimous vote, recommend to deny.
Questions? Next item dealing with this issue, consider approval on first of two readings of ordinance 1958, amending the official zoning map as stipulated under Article 4.1, City of Rockport zoning ordinance number 1027, by changing the zoning of land from R1 first single family dwelling district for property located at 2231 State Highway 35 bypass, also known as West Terrace Unit 2, Block 1, Lot 41, 150 feet by 55 feet, to B1 General Business District, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for severability, providing an effective date. What's your pleasure, council?
I'm gonna make the motion to deny agenda item 6 as presented.
Second.
I have a motion to deny and a second. Any further questions? If not, we'll call for a vote. Ward 1.
Yes.
Andrea's here. You weren't on there a while ago.
I am. I just wanted to make a comment to the lady real quick. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Sorry that I'm missing the meeting. Didn't want to spread germs to y'all. But I think the biggest issue is listening is that there's not a clear answer what you really want to do on the property. One or two might be small homes. When you're bringing that forth in front of for approval, it's really good to have a very steady plan so people are more comfortable with what you're bringing in front of people, especially your neighbors, because they're going to be the ones you're gonna want to have on your side when you're planning to rezone in the city. So I just wanted to make that comment before we did the roll call. Thank you.
Okay. Could you understand that?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
thank you, ma'am.
Kind of was, we have one there right now. We actually have two of them already.
Would you come back up here so we can be sure to record what you have to say?
Yes. So our goal is to have two, but I know there comes in a factor of the square footage being, a certain amount that it has to be. I believe 500 square feet. Our tiny homes that we have right now don't meet that requirement, but that was something that we would discuss to see if, do we keep both of our tiny homes, or do we kind of get rid of one and add to one to make it to the 500 square foot, that the requirements that is being. I brought a picture to kind of give a better idea of what we are trying to do. I've never been to a board meeting before. It's my first time, so I am learning as I'm going as well. I don't know if this is something I can pass out to you guys. I have a few of them, or if that's allowed.
Do you have more?
Yes, I do have more. Yes.
They're all the same?
Yes.
Do change it to the new zoning, it allows the owner to do anything permitted under that zone. So intent versus actual allowable is going to be very different.
And for as long as, we are the owners, this is what we plan on doing with this lot. We don't plan on building You know, I know there was some concerns about, well, the lot is small, how are you gonna put a parking lot? That's not anything of what we are trying to do, is build commercial, build a plaza, build anything like that. We're just trying to have these homes placed there to rent as Airbnbs or vacation rentals for anybody that comes in. Something different, you know, that's offered.
I think the concern that generally comes from the council over something like this is when the zoning is changed. If property value were to change because of the zoning change and the property was sold and it's been zoned business, that anything could go in there that is related to that zoning at the time. And I think that's a concern that you hear from the council here. How long have y'all owned that piece of property?
We recently came with it, probably about 5 months now, 5 or 6 months. And I know since it's off the bypass, you know, pretty much anything that's off the bypass, there's really no houses off the bypass. I know there's the lots next to us, they're for sale, but because they're also on the smaller end, you know, there's only so much that you can do with these lots, which is why, you know, we kind of ended up getting the idea of putting these cottages.
Ms. Dietrich, can you run us through the P&Z, what P&Z's thoughts on it were? Obviously, it was unanimous denial, but.
Yeah, well, the P&Z was concerned about all the objections. And their concern is that once it's zoned B1, anything can go there that's allowed in B1. The problem with that is the size of that lot, I don't know what else they're gonna do with it. I believe that if they chose to build a home, they could get a variance on the setbacks because it's 55 feet deep. And so you've got a 20-foot, 25 setback in the front and a 20-foot in the rear. It leaves you 10 feet to build something.
Not much of a house.
No. So I think if they chose to do that, we could get them a variance on the setbacks. They also have to have a septic system and a well because there's no water or sewer there in that part of the bypass.
There is a well.
There is currently a well.
There is a well, yes. We just don't have septic on there, which is something that we've kind of already gotten the okay. The distance, you know, from the well and the septic will be fine. We just haven't moved anything because we wanted to see if, you know, to get this approved.
Well, as it stands, we have a motion and second to deny the request. You can come back and ask for a variance and look at the possibility of doing something residential, but we're going to have to take action on what we have. We have motion and second to deny. Now we'll call for a vote. Ward 1.
Aye.
Ward 3.
She is on.
Ward 4.
I'd like to vote, Mayor.
Hey, I've got both of them now. Didn't see you till just now. All right, Ward 2.
Aye.
Ward 3.
Aye.
Ward 4.
Aye.
Mayor, aye. It's unanimous. Thank you. Next item on the agenda, request for rezoning for property located at 317 East Liberty, also known as Lot 2A, Kimmons Acres subdivision to R1, first single-family dwelling district, currently zoned B1, general business district. To hold a public hearing on that matter. Is there anyone here that wants to address the council on this particular item?
Yes, Mr. Pitch is here.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Give us your name and address and tell us what you want to do.
My name is Sarah Page. My address 5020 Loop 1781, Rockport, Texas.
And what is your plan for your property? What do you want to do with it?
I just want to build my single house and it's close to my business and I just want to be sold to the resident because I want to pay tax and for residents, not for business. So that's why I request for rezoning.
Okay. Anyone else here to address this issue? Ms. Dietrich?
So Mr. Pitch's This lot is directly behind the donut shop that they own, and they'd like to build a residential dwelling on that lot. Now, we do allow residential use in a B1, but he went to the tax assessor and he was told that he would be taxed at a commercial rate because the lot is zoned B1, not residential. So he doesn't want to pay a commercial tax rate on his home. So that's why he's trying to rezone it back to R1 so that he can build his home and not pay that commercial tax rate.
Is it two separate lots? Is the donut
It
shop
is.
on a separate lot?
Yes, they're two separate lots.
So he can maintain his donut shop as business?
Yes.
This one would not affect, this rezone would not affect that other lot?
Correct.
The lot sufficient size to
It is.
build and meet all the requirements?
Yes, ma'am.
P and Z have any problems with all that?
I'm sorry.
I said P and Z.
No, they voted unanimously.
Okay. Any questions, council?
No, sir.
We'll close the public hearing. Consider approval of first of two readings for ordinance number 1959, amending the official zoning map as stipulated under Article 4.1, City of Rockport zoning ordinance number 1027, by changing the zoning of land from B1 General Business District for property located at 317 East Liberty, also known as Lot 2-A, Kimmons Acres subdivisions, to R1 First Single Family Dwelling District, repealing all ordinances in conflict therewith, providing for severability, providing an effective date. Council, if you have no further questions, do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve agenda item number 7 as presented.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. Any further questions? If not, I'll call for a vote. Ward 1.
Aye.
Ward 2.
Aye.
Ward 3.
Aye.
Ward 4.
Aye.
Mayor, aye. It's unanimous. Item number 8, consider the approval of resolution 2025-29R, appointing the mayor as the chief executive officer and an authorized representative to act in all matters in connection with the Texas Division of Emergency Management Hazard Mitigation Grant project, and committing the city to provide matching funds to secure and complete the TDEM Hazard Mitigation Grant for FEMA project number DR 4485-0133. Ms. Henry.
Yes, Mayor and Council, thank you. This resolution is for the second of 3 grant opportunities that we have for generators for our facilities. And this one is for the mobile generators, and it would be 2 mobile generators, and then the concrete slabs at the 10 wastewater lift stations, if I'm correct on that, Ryan. And so the 10% match is $49,605.90, which we did not budget because we weren't for sure if we were getting this grant or not. And so one of our future items will be to take care of that as well if you approve it.
Okay. Questions?
I move to approve that item as presented.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I will second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further questions? Call for a vote. Ward 1.
Aye.
Ward 2.
Aye.
Ward 3.
Aye.
Ward 4.
Aye.
Mayor, aye. It's unanimous. Item number 10. Consider awarding of contract to South Texas Building Partners for repairs to the city-owned building that is leased to the Rockport. I'll hush.
I think it's 9, please, Mayor. I think we should get one.
There's looks similar in nature.
I did, yes. I started reading one and ended up reading the other one. You're absolutely right. Okay. Consider awarding contract. Is that where we are?
No, sir.
Nope, 9, you're right. Consider the approval. I've got a big red dot in the middle of 9 because I was going to move that other guy up there to that point. That's what was confusing to me, I think. Consider approval of appropriation of $49,606 out of utility fund balance to support the Texas Division Emergency Management Grant project number 0133 at 10% grant match. Mr. Sorrell.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Yes, following Kimberly's last item, this is to provide the 10% match for that grant. What we're requesting is $49,606 to be appropriated out of the utility fund reserves for that purpose. And staff recommends approval for that match, please.
Okay. Questions, council?
Sorry, this is gonna be back to Kimberly. This is item two, this is 2 of 3?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The previous one was, 2 stationary at water lift stations, and then we have 1 still outstanding. We're still hoping to receive that and for another 2, stationary for water lift stations, but this is the only one at wastewater lift stations.
Okay. And, the other one, did we use utility reserves on the other one?
Yes,
Match
sir.
As well?
Because this is all water and wastewater.
It's all water, wastewater
Yes, sir.
related.
In case there's a power outage, is the deal.
Sure.
So,
Yes.
yes.
It's part of the hazard mitigation.
Yes, ma'am.
Other questions?
I move to approve item 9 as presented.
I have a motion and a second. Any further questions? If not, we'll call for a vote. Ward 1.
Aye.
Ward 2.
Aye.
Ward 3.
Aye.
Ward 4.
Aye.
Mayor, aye. Now we're back to the right place. It's unanimous.
Mayor?
Yes.
If we can go back to item 5, I believe we need to provide direction to the chief on that. There's a hold the public hearing and then provide direction.
Thought that was kind of, maybe we didn't say it out specifically.
Well, we moved that guy up so we can get out of here.
I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Direction on whether you want to go through with the, I did put a proposed ordinance change in there if you want to go forward with that or any direction on what you guys would like.
I would recommend that at some point we probably have another public hearing on the subject because we're going to hear from people that are not in the. From what you were saying, we know that you're talking about residential areas all through the city, but I think folks need to realize that before they decide that the city's trying to find a way to make money off people by lowering the speed limit. And I think they need to understand what it is we're trying to do. And I think if the information you provided was fine, but I think at the point we're looking at changing the ordinance, we might have a hearing one more time, let the public give us a chance to see if they have any heartburn over it.
I know that you have already provided some information out to the public, so I really appreciate that. I've seen those public postings, and I'm a huge advocate for that. I myself am in complete support of this, not just for the study that you've already completed, but with the patients I see related to speed-related accidents. 45 miles an hour took a young girl's life. That's 45 miles an hour. So you have recorded speeds much greater than that in a small area. So safety is huge. We've had a lot of recent accidents. So I definitely know that we've had a lot of support from the country club, but it is one area that can bring safety to the whole. So I do appreciate those persons coming out and speaking on this. I do really think that we need to put plenty of information out. I would support another public hearing as well, because I want those people to speak up and be involved in this process. That's really one of those things that we've been really promoting is public involvement and getting everyone really well educated, especially the areas of change. For them to understand we're not just reducing every speed limit within the area, but only particular areas, and really mapping those out for those persons with concern to see that. I think that's important because a lot of people just read half, well, not even probably half, just a portion of something and go with that. It's really important for them to see often where the areas of change will occur.
We'll do a big information push between now and the first meeting in January on social media and the webpage and things like that, and be sure that it's
I can see
well advertised.
the downside. People will complain saying, oh, it's just a money grab for the city. You know, cops are going to be writing tickets all day long now. I can see playing the devil's advocate, that's what the pushback we may get.
Yeah.
is-
And I've spent time with some of our local HOAs, but those are the only people who are aware of it, who are
participating in the HOA, so there's a lot of our citizens who may not be aware of it, who don't participate in those meetings, and so. we can get out
I
there.
support it. I mean, it's, live in a residential area, you don't want cars driving that fast down your street, to hit your kids, but.
As you'll see in the city manager's report, we don't really write a whole lot of tickets. You'll see the numbers in her report here in just a little bit, but it's we go for voluntary compliance, and we do that mainly through warnings as opposed to written citations that cost our citizens money. So,
Any other
Can I make
questions,
a comment
council,
real
from
quick?
Ward 4 or Ward 2? Go ahead, Andrew.
So just it is my ward that is a big advocate for this speed limit change, so I'm of course in support of them, because if it makes them feel safer, then that is what needs to be done. They have been working really hard on going to their neighbors and making sure they're getting the name out in their neighborhood. But yes, we do need to make sure that everyone is aware of what is happening. I will give the chief lots of kudos. He's been so communicative and so open with just talking with everyone and making sure that who wants to hear it or wants to listen, he's there to, talk to them with it. And he has put it on social media as well, and he did get good feedback on social media with his presence out there. So I just want to say thank you to the HOA for showing up for something that you believe in. It makes it matter when you guys do show up and make your voice heard. I'm in favor for another public hearing so we can at least hear from the other neighborhoods, because it is a whole city, not just one area, but I have to advocate for mine, and I'm going to be in support of whatever you guys have been doing to lower the speed limit to 25. I just want to put that out there.
Thank you. Ward 2, any thought?
No, I'm in agreement for having another public hearing to give everyone an opportunity, but at this point, I'm in favor of the speed limit reduction for residential neighborhoods.
All right, thank you, sir. Go forth and do what you do there, Chief. Good work, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Sorry about that.
That's perfectly all right. I'll get back to where we're supposed to be. I already missed one spot anyway. Number 11, is that right?
10.
Very good. Want to be sure. Nobody had a heart attack for a while. Number 11, consider approval of appropriating $667,459 out of general fund balance to support the contract award South Texas Building Partners for improvements to the city-owned building leased to the Rockport Volunteer Fire Department. Mr. Sorrell and Ms.
Number 10, you read 11. They both have similar numbers.
Thought I read that a little while ago.
Yeah, number 10.
Oh, that was where y'all told me I was reading the wrong one. Yeah, I did it twice. Okay, consider the awarding of a contract to South Texas Building Partners for repairs to the city-owned building that is leased to Rockport Volunteer Fire Department located at 212 North Gagon Street, Rockport, Texas, for an amount not to exceed $667,459. Go ahead.
We've got the peanut
You know
gallery.
where we are, I don't.
So this building did have some damage with mold, and when we went to our insurance company, they sent out an adjuster. The adjuster reviewed the building, and he quoted $65,000 and some change for the mediation and repairs. The way insurance handles mold is we take care of what was broken, and that's about it. They don't take care of all the repairs. So, to replace everything. So we are working with them to increase that bid. However, their contribution towards the remediation of this, however, at this time, they're only putting in almost $66,000, just under $66,000 towards this project. Once all the mold was removed, with everything that come back out of it, the total bid is $667,459. And we are working with TML to increase that amount that they have offered, but at this time, we do not have any additional information from them.
Brad, I know we're here, Council Mayor, we're here kind of standing behind her, because it's a big ask, it really is. But I want to give some history on how we kind of got here. You know, we have some firemen here, and, you know, we had some dripping duct work and stuff in the AC. And so we called in a mold remediation guy and started looking. They called in the independent insurance company, adjuster to come in here and look at it, and, you know, we didn't know what it was gonna do. They said that we'll look at it at face value, and then when we do the mold remediation, then we'll look at what needs to be fixed. Well, at this time, nobody has been back, and we're setting that meeting up with the insurance company to come see what has been remediated. It was a shock to all of us that have been in the building. I know the firefighters, when we walked in, we could see the spots. Well, after the remediation, we walked in and it was pretty much gutted. And I know you've been in it, and so, but that's where they found the mold, and that's what we're trying to tell the insurance company. And we have some good documentation from the remediation company. So this is where we're at. We wanna get our firemen their house back, is what we're trying to do. And so any advice, and, you know, I know Robbie has some ideas that we're, how to fund this, but, we're gonna still try to get that cost down.
So we use the remediation firm group recommended by the insurance firm. So.
And low bid, which was half the bid.
Right, we may not recoup all of this money, but we are hoping, since we've done the right steps and these guys have provided the right documentation, that we can recoup at least a portion of it. The only other option is to cease using the building, basically.
Which doesn't seem like a very viable option.
It's not an option. I mean, it's not a viable option, but it's an option.
Yeah.
I mean.
You gotta put them somewhere.
I'm giving you two credit choices and you gotta pick one.
Yeah. Forgive me for the ignorance, in a public building like this, when you're fighting with the insurance, could you use the public adjuster, or, you know, go the route that many people went after Harvey, when the initial insurance adjuster gave a number, and then you argued over that number for a little bit, and then you brought in.
That's kind of what we're doing.
Okay.
Because we were asking them, their adjuster gave the low number of 65,000 and some change, and then he went away, and once the mold remediation team got in there and started tearing out, they kept going until they found no mold. They took pictures along the way, so now we've got to provide that documentation to the insurance company to say, hey, we need more help because there was more mold than your adjuster thought.
And we do. We've sent that to them. They're reviewing it, and we've set up. We're in the process of setting up another visit.
Okay.
Because nothing was looked at, just from face value. That's like looking at this building. And
Yeah.
saying, okay, there's mold. And now we're gonna get down to the bottom of things, and the insurance doesn't want us to go in there and like we're using it as a free punch ticket to rebuild our fire station, and that's not the case. So we have something set up to meet with them hopefully before the holiday.
But I don't know if you remember like back in the 80s and 90s whenever they'd find mold in their homes, and they'd go in and raise the house and put them in hotels, and then like rebuild the house, and then I think they passed some insurance reform law. So realistically, we may not get anything for out of it, just being honest.
All right, Robbie, where do we find the money?
That was gonna be my question, where's the money coming from?
Andrew, go ahead.
Say that again, Andrea?
Where's the money coming from?
We'd be doing reserves. We'd be looking at taking the money out of reserves, general fund reserves. And I know there was a question about where would that leave us in terms of days. That would leave us at 73 days. I know ideally we'd want to be at 180, but we'd be at 73. And that's down from 120 at the 2023 fiscal year-end audit numbers.
does it make sense to, I mean, it's a low, it's 600,000 is a low number, does it make sense to go borrow that money, bond it, or tax note it, or anything like that? No, not really. I just don't mean dropping the reserves. We were fighting to get our reserves back, and then.
I know it's been something we've been trying to fight against. To get $1 million? I mean.
I have a question.
Matt?
Can you hear me? I have a question, Mayor.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, guys. I hope you can hear me okay. I agree with Ryan. We need to try to do everything we can to get the fire guys back in there as quick as possible. But it seems like we're being literally shafted by our insurance company. We pay our bills on time, and they've offered less than 10%. What can we do as far as, obviously we're already asking for a meeting, but can we prepare, something? This just seems to be outrageous that they won't even offer 10%. Is there mediation? Is there anything that we have in place to discuss with TML when they come in so low? That's, to me, absurd that they're gonna offer that amount.
So mold typically falls into a different category when you're talking about insurance, unless you buy specific mold insurance. So what I think Ryan tried to allude to earlier was they're willing to pay for the problem that caused the mold, but not all of the mold, because we don't carry mold insurance through TML. I don't even know if that's something that TML offers, but mold is specifically handled differently. If it was a tornado, we'd be looking at getting all of our money. A flood, something like that, we probably would, but because of what happened in the 80s, it's specifically carved out of insurance.
Okay.
Carriers. So that's kind of where we are. But Robbie just made a really great point in that we probably should go try to get the loan because the length of the loan would match the length of the lifespan of the building. So what I would like, and I don't know what our timeline is on this, but I would like to table it, and I would like for Robbie to talk to Mr. Henderson to see if there's something we can do on the borrowing side, tax note side, some sort of option other than dipping into our reserves. I think we're playing a dangerous game when we get down into the 70 days if we have another option.
Is there any grants available?
We're in grants up to our ears. I don't think that there's anything that would specifically come through for this emergency situation. Now, being that it's fire, I think being that it's an emergency service, you're right. We could probably look at it with a different eye and do some exploring on that. I don't know of anything off the top of my head. That's my best answer.
While it's tabled, we'll kind of like hit all directions on it. I know that, even if it's just like firehouse improvement grants, things like that. I know that there's improvement grants out there. Are we eligible for them? Is it?
It's a city-owned building.
Yeah.
It's leased.
Okay, but is there an urgency for it?
I don't think there, other than getting, our
Right,
firefighters
so we
back in.
keep them out, at least add another month to how long they're gonna be out of their building.
Yeah, I think it's worth doing, trying to find a way to not get rid of our days.
Can we pay it and pay ourselves back?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Can we move forward, instead of table, can we move forward with the contract for the South Texas
And provide
building?
the direction to repay ourselves.
Like a reimbursement resolution type thing?
Yeah.
I don't see why not.
Or, just secure the contract, know that the funding.
Yeah.
At least the funding is available if we go to reserves, which
The contract
don't-
all isn't due today.
Yeah.
When you approve it. So if you can approve the contract, and then we can look at our options. What it boils down to, if there's no other options, we'll take it out of reserves. So,
Of course,
Yeah, at least we wanted to have this conversation with y'all, because, I mean, it's new to us on the price. The bid was a week ago, and so, and.
we're still catching our
And
breath.
we had to get that number for us to get our response from
TML?
Yeah, from TML, so, and then, us trying to get this through, I mean, I think taking a step back is okay.
You're on the right
now.
track, though. Grab that contract and then.
And then
Yeah,
once we figure out
suggestion
how we
just
can do this,
increase.
then hit it hard and get them back in their building.
I agree.
So would it be prudent to go ahead and approve this item, the contract?
So my question to you would be, if there are no alternatives, are you willing to take it out of reserves?
Yes.
If we had no choice at all, we would
Yes.
have to.
Then I would say approve it. We'll do everything we can to find something with conditions.
How would you like that motion to be? I mean, I'll make it, approve that.
Just add with conditions at the end?
Say direction as
Well,
provided.
Yeah, because we have the next item on the agenda is the money part, yeah.
And the mayor already read that agenda item, but I think we were just talking pending, how did you word it, put the question?
Well, if we were talking about possibly approve the contract subject to funding, but if we're gonna fund it regardless,
And it's just approving the contract.
yeah, we're just approving the contract.
Approve the contract and then on the money due direction as discussed.
So
Two separate agenda items.
So I move to approve item 10 as presented.
And I will second that.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions? This is on item number 10. Any question? If not, we'll call for a vote. Ward 1,
Aye.
Ward 2,
Aye.
Ward 3,
Aye.
Ward 4.
Aye.
Mayor, aye. Unanimous. Number 11, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Is that right? Okay. Now, we're talking about where we're gonna find the money.
Yes, sir.
Consider approval of appropriating $667,459 from general fund balance.
Conditionally.
Yes.
Okay, so we can,
So
The
make
motion would-
motion to approve agenda item 11 as discussed with conditions.
That's good enough for me if it's good enough for Shelley. And
Good.
we
I have a
have our
motion.
direction.
I have a motion, do I have a
Second.
second? I have a motion and a second, any questions? We'll call for a vote, Ward 1,
Aye.
Ward 2,
Aye.
Ward 3,
aye.
Ward 4,
Aye.
Mayor, aye. Thank y'all. Number 12, consider approval of CIP projects over $50,000 V&E scheduled replacement purchases, 2024-25 budget cycle 2025 John Deere 320P backhoe. Mr. Picarazzi. Or who?
John Martin, who's the lead manager, he's gonna present tonight.
Before he starts, I want to mention that this may very well be his last council meeting.
Boo.
Unless I can talk him out of it because he's dead to me. But, we're gonna wish him congratulations on his retirement.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor and City Council. So this capital purchase is for a backhoe, a Water Street backhoe that is replacing a 2006 backhoe that has a bad transmission. So to keep our services up, this is a part of our vehicle life cycle replacement schedule. It was approved on our 2024-25 budget, V&E budget. So we're just asking for approval to execute this purchase for the backhoe.
Does the old backhoe go to surplus, or is it gonna be repaired?
It's actually gonna be traded in.
Oh, okay.
So it was, the replacement backhoe was $238,000. We're buying it through a source rail contract, through John Deere. They're giving us a $96,000 discount, plus $15,000 for the old backhoe that has a bad transmission, so it's a pretty good deal.
I move to approve item 12 as presented.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
I have a second. Thank you for everything that you've done.
Motion and a second, any question, council? Not, we'll call for a vote. Ward one, Ward two,
Aye.
Ward three,
Aye.
Ward four,
Aye.
Mayor, aye, unanimous.
Thank you.
Number 13, consider the mayoral appointments, city council liaisons to various boards, committees, and commissions. Okay. I was looking over the ones that we have currently. And Andrea, you got a whole bunch. I don't know whether you're,
Well, yeah, there's even one mistake. I'm actually the liaison for the Aransas County pathways. So they had reappointed me that one as well.
okay.
But my question is,
Let me do this.
Sorry.
Let's take care of the vacant ones and then we'll see about rearranging some of the others right quick. First one, the Aransas pathways, I still have. I don't get their minutes and so forth. Does anybody, we don't have a counter alternate liaison person for them.
That's where
Well,
Andrea was wanting to be.
no, Mayor, I actually was appointed here a couple months ago. You guys changed it up. So I am the one that goes to those meetings. So I would need someone to be the vacant liaison if I can't make it.
Okay.
If you'd like to be mayor, I know you have a lot too. But I go to the meetings, so I can stay on that one.
Okay.
So do you want to be the secondary, or you want one of us to take that from you?
If one of you would like to have that, that would be fine. If you're interested in the pathways, which is a good project.
Can we go down and fill the current council liaison and then do the alternate, like, after?
We can do that.
That way we can distribute primary ownership first and then
We can
evenly
do that.
distribute that alternate.
We need somebody for P and Z.
I'd like to do that one.
You got it. I don't know why, but I had your name written down there already. All right, and you want to stay as the backup for that one? All right. You look over here on the other page. All those are all in there.
I think that's all of them, right?
That's the vacancies. The main one was P and Z.
Yeah.
So then should we redistribute the primary so that,
Yeah, we can do that. Andrew, you remember you're with the Convention Visitors Bureau. We got you on that one. You remember that, correct? I
Yes.
don't have it on the sheet, but it's down there.
May I speak just for 1 minute to the council? So the boards that I am head on, they are very consuming boards. They meet quite often, sometimes twice a month. So I was wondering if someone would be able to take one of the Chamber of Commerce ones for me. The Chamber of Commerce board meets at 5:15 every third Tuesday. And then there's the tourism development one that meets every fourth Thursday at 10 a.m. One of those, if someone could take that one, I don't mind keeping the rest. One of those would be really helpful for me to not be on them. So they're just kind of really time-consuming boards.
I'll do the evening one for Chamber of Commerce, if that's helpful.
Okay. So you want to do the Chamber of Commerce and be the council liaison for them?
Yes, sir.
All right, I can do that.
Thank you, Matt.
All right.
Tourism, and the other one was the Tourism Development Council?
Yeah, I could stick on one of them. I just need, like I said, a lot of them meet a couple times a month and sometimes once, and they're a couple hours at a time, and just a little time consuming, so.
She was
that would
wanting to
help
offload
streamline.
one of the two of those.
Oh, just one of the
What she
two?
was saying, yeah.
Oh.
You're sure you don't want to, you're okay just offloading one of those, Andrea?
Yeah, I'm good with that. That's fine.
Oh, if you want off one of the other, because you are on some of the other ones, I mean, I don't mind doing the tourism one. You're the secondary on that one, right?
Yes.
Right, just on that,
Yes, ma'am.
it will
will be nice to keep her on the tourism with the chamber and then the CVB with the city. So there's continuity of
Oh, yeah.
communication between those two boards.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm good with the rest of them. I just needed to take one big one off so I can have, my work has been a lot more busy, so I just need a little bit more off my plate on that end. So thank you.
Repeat that once more. Which one it would be best for her out of those to drop then?
There's a tourism board with, I don't have the list. Having her on the tourism, TDC maybe?
Yes, it's Tourism Development Council.
The TDC with the chamber and having her on our city CVB board is helpful.
So it's the same person?
So it's the same
yeah.
person with the same information going back and forth.
No, that makes sense. So she's not dropping the Chamber of Commerce one, just the tourism TDC in the Chamber of Commerce?
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay.
It's all tourism.
No, I agree. It's important to keep, I just want to make sure that we offloaded the correct one.
Yeah, they're intermingled.
I'm totally fine with that.
Okay.
Okay, and Andrea, I'm gonna go down this list right quick that I have here. I hope that Shelley's got anything I missed. I'm gonna go down this list who has the liaison itself. I have got Andrea, you for Aransas Pathways, Coastal Bays and Estuaries, Stephanie.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the Council of Governments and the Economic Development Council. Brad, you have Parks and Leisure Services.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir, I'm sorry, yeah.
That's okay. Planning and Zoning, Matt. Rockport Cultural Arts District, Stephanie. Chamber of Commerce, Matt. Tree and Landscape Committee. Andrea, you still got that?
Yes.
I don't think we're allowed to take that one away from her.
I don't think she's
No,
given those
I just wanted to hear her say it. That's perfectly all right. She's smiling. It's okay. Brad, you got Building Standards Commission and Zoning, zoning
Yes,
board adjustment. Stormwater Management. I have had that one. We have got Ryan on that committee now. I don't know that we need to have somebody there if we have a city staff person running it. We can go anytime we want to. It's a public meeting, but I don't see any sense in pointing somebody to that.
So do we just need to take away the liaisons to that one?
Yeah.
Because we have staff.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, it kind of changed. Yeah.
Change the dynamic.
But we can go sit in the meeting.
Yeah, we can go anytime.
But we're gonna bring that back to y'all anyways.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tourism Development, Andrea. Swimming Pool, Stephanie. We will have a member of the council on the reinvestment zone board, as I understand it, so that kind of takes care of that. Okay. The backups for Aransas Pathway.
I can take that.
Okay. Parks and Leisure Services.
I mean,
We'll have a
I'll do
volunteer.
it.
Matt will take that one.
All right.
Are we gonna determine, whoever's going to do the council liaison for the tours tonight?
So there's not gonna be a council liaison,
No,
I don't think.
there
I
will
think
be a
we will
member on
put
the board.
A council member on the board. So your
Okay.
liaison is a board.
So when will that be decided?
We can appoint ours now if we want. However, at this point, the county has asked for 2 seats on it, and if that's something that we want to negotiate, we will be giving up one of our seats. So now that the county has joined, the city's involved, I think we wait until the NAB district gets involved, They send their appointees that have been negotiated with us, and then we appoint what realistically should be our 4 seats that are left.
But we had agreed on 6 with the potential to increase to 8 if needed, correct?
No, I think we set it at 7 with 5 for the city and 1 and 1. The county is asking for 2 on the 7-member board. So we will have to give up 1 and go down to 4, county 2, NAV 1.
Okay.
Or it's a negotiation. You can do what you want. You know, if we have a 7-member board, we can increase it to 9. But specifically, the county's motion said 2 members on the 7-member board, which effectively, I think, preempts us from increasing the board. We can, but I think that was the intent. I don't think we appoint our board until the interlocal agreements to join the TERS have been negotiated.
Okay.
I'll do something different if you give me different direction.
No, it's just, you know, I'm just trying to kind of gather who I feel. It's kind of like that zone has been Ward 1. I wouldn't mind representing it or support the mayor as, you know, our lead counsel. So with this discussion at hand, it's kind of hard because I would want to offset one of like the pool over to potentially Matt. I don't mind being secondary, but I know that that's going to be something that takes up a lot of time. It's a huge commitment, so that's kind of why I was just asking those questions. If it was a consideration for Ward 1 to sit on that, then I wouldn't want to have the responsibility on that list there.
Why don't we, when we appoint the board, also have another look at this or readjust your assignments based on the vote?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I can take the pool if you want the pool, if you want to free up some stuff, I don't mind.
Well, I don't mind it now. I mean, there just isn't really much
Yeah.
obligation with it, but the thing is I just want to ensure that that could change at any moment where the need for presence is greater, and I want to make sure that we can all fulfill, just as Andrea verbalized the need to ensure that she was 100% involved with her boards. You know, I feel like that's one of those that you are going to have to prioritize.
100%.
So that's why I just ask. I'm not, you know, doing anything half of my responsibility.
We'll ask Shelley to remember to put this as an item right
Would we
under our
do
board
that? That's
appointment. Just, even if it's just a double check.
Okay.
It's not gonna hurt
I
us.
appreciate that, just so we can kind of reconsider it based on the vote.
Did we put somebody as the backup on the pool? I didn't write it down.
Brad volunteered.
You put me.
Okay. All right,
That
that
way
takes
if you
care of
fall
that.
off on it, I'll take it.
Did that get it, Shelley? Very good, thank you. Number 14, consider approval of interlocal cooperation agreement between Aransas County, Texas and the City of Rockport, Texas for municipal court prosecution.
We didn't make that. That's my bad. We had, too many red lines and we haven't.
We're not ready to do anything with that yet. All right, we'll pass that one. See, presentation from the pool, we already got that, and he's on his way back to Houston. City manager's update.
Mayor and council, you have my standard update, and it'll be on the website as usual. I'm gonna take my time to update on something else. Someone sent me some information off of Facebook that we weren't being very forthcoming on our status with City Hall. So I'm gonna talk about that a little bit, and I would also like to update you guys on the sale of the gas system, because I don't think you guys have heard anything on that in a bit. So on City Hall, to date, we are under budget. We will not finish this project under budget. We don't know that number. As we sold the bonds, we allocated a certain amount of money that could go towards a City Hall overage. I don't anticipate spending all of that amount, but we're going to have to settle in on a number to get the building wrapped up and finished. We have had a request for mediation from Teal. We will respond to that request tomorrow. However, in talking directly with Teal, we are trying to avoid mediation. Kimberly has ramped up her meticulous record keeping and duty assignment, and we're getting a lot of things done and resolved quickly. So I have a phone call to make tomorrow as well to see if we can maybe avoid going to mediation. We know that's all gonna cost us some money. It's gonna cost everybody some money and cost everybody some time. I think at this point, it's more important to work to resolve problems and get the building open. And then to that end, it's no secret that the windows failed the blow test. We have not gotten a response back from EFCO, to the manufacturer, to prove the approval of the plans to move forward with the adjustments to the windows. There's 90 to 100 windows that have to be fixed. When we get the go-ahead from EFCO, it's a minimum of 10 weeks from there. So we're already looking at February at this point. Teal offered to let us move into the building and that they would fix the windows with us in there. I don't think that's a good move. We'll stay out until it's done and we'll take the building when it's complete. We're not in a hurry, sorry, Ryan. But it's more important than that be done right than right now. The change to the EFIS on the tower windows, I'm not sure if everybody's aware of that, but the curved windows on the tower actually is a unattainable curve for glass, or that's my understanding. And so we've decided to fill it in with EFIS to make it look kind of contiguous to the rest of the building. It'll be a little design. They're finally moving forward with that. The EFIS changes around the building are being worked through. There's going to be plus or minus expense on that, hopefully a deduction. There's an error in the installation, and I think if we accept the error, we should get a little bit of a credit there. We're still working with the subcontractor to finish the millwork inside. That's been a battle for Kimberly since it's been put up. It was put in wrong. It did not look good, and we are not going to accept it until it does look good. We are working on getting all of our data and AV stuff secured. They're on site right now. They expect to be finished by late January. We ordered a new cornerstone. It said 2024, and it was crooked. So we took it out, ordered a new one that said 2025, added the names of the new council members because we went a cycle over what we should have been. And then we're working on a MOU with the county on a drop box. Those are kind of the big things that are hanging out. There's a lot of other little things being tied up. I would love to answer questions. I know y'all are getting questions. Don't necessarily have an opportunity to have all of you in one room very often, only at a council meeting. And so if you have questions on City Hall, Kimberly and I are open to answer whatever you've got for us, right now or at any point. Anything on that?
The windows failed for the second time.
They failed blow test twice. That's right.
Are we incurring cost on those?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Now, are we incurring cost on the windows? No. Are we incurring cost on time? Maybe. Okay. That's going to be one of those mediation where everybody puts something in the bucket. But no, we are not financially responsible for those windows at all.
The fault is essentially on those things is with the manufacturer, isn't that right?
The installer. Yeah, Teal's not going to be on the hook for that either.
It'll be the sub, whoever the sub is that was.
It's between Teal and the installer. So we're out of that loop. We just need them fixed and passed. Okay. What else?
I don't have much. I met with you recently, kind of caught me up on things. I think you share information to us as it comes in. You give us pretty good updates, so I appreciate that.
I try to. We'll try to put more things maybe out on the web as things get complete or we notice things going on. You know, we're just working. We're trying to get through it, and We don't necessarily publish everything that's going on, but that doesn't mean it's a secret or it's not getting done. We are close to getting the building. It's gonna be a beautiful building. It's gonna be something that you guys can be proud of. So we, also will have space that we can help other government entities that need space. So we'll be positioned really well when we get the building open. So.
Well, I don't think mudslinging in public is gonna do us any favors in potential mediation if we start mudslinging with the contractor and all that, so.
It doesn't benefit any of us. I mean, we can throw darts at each other all day, but the end of the day, we've got to get the building built and get out. Okay? If there's nothing else on that, I'll talk about the gas sale for a minute. We launched the sale the last week of October. Due diligence and site visits are taking place right now. Ryan and his crew are spending a lot of time with people interested in buying that gas system. I'm going to say that it's fantastic that they are, but I know they'll be glad when it's over with. 12 bidders were invited to submit offers. They include major utilities, private and public, as well as energy and power infrastructure finance firms that invest in and own and operate utilities. All the final bids will be due Friday, January 24th, 2025, and negotiations for the final and best offer will occur after that and a winning bidder selected. The timing of the selection of the winning bid will depend on the terms that they submit. So then we'll go into a negotiation again and get the best possible outcome for the city. After that February date, it could take a couple of, is it February? Is that what I just said?
January.
I'm sorry, January 24th. Sorry. After that January date, it could take a couple more months to negotiate and hammer everything out and then go through compliance to get the final sale done. It's not an overnight process, but we are working on it. So
I say take your time.
I know that we are in a position that we need to sell it. Ryan's group is bogged down with it. But again, we want to do it right. We want to end up with the best result for the city. So we'll work through it slowly and we'll do what we need to do. So those are my two items. If you have questions on either of these or any other project that's going on in the city, love to answer questions. Or if you want to report on something specific at the next council meeting, give me a yell. Go look at the regular report on the web. It has all of their fabulous information that they track for you guys. And you can see how great they're doing at their customer service and overall service to the city. And I'm just going to say that I'm really proud of them. They're doing a great job. For y'all.
Thank you.
One quick one. On the sale of the gas, or once you receive those bids back, your process, what is that, accepting the bids back, what does that process look like for us to select a winning bidder? Is that gonna be staff that's gonna go through that? Are we gonna have like a grading system?
RBC, we've hired them to do it.
Okay.
So my vision is that they would weed out everything that's not really viable and bring to us kind of the cream of the crop and then advise us through the process. We're obviously gonna have say in the sale of the system, but I don't anticipate us going through every bid.
Okay.
If we have a committee, I'll put you on it.
No, what is it? No, what is it? I just think that, I mean,
I heard him ask.
There's staff that is
heard him,
obviously
yeah.
more knowledgeable in this than your elected body.
Yeah.
So.
These guys know what they're doing. It's gonna come through you, whatever we do. You'll see what we have gone through, what the options are. We're not gonna make the decision in a vacuum, that's for sure. Is that it?
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Reports from council.
I don't have too much to report. There's a lot of things going on downtown this month, so I do recommend checking out the calendar, the information they've put out there. A lot of good changes and events, dealing with a few issues, but we're doing well communicating that with city staff, getting information back to those constituents. So I wish everyone a wonderful Christmas, Happy New Year. I'm going to Cancun. So our presents with our kids and replace those memories. So every Christmas we go on vacation. So that's where we'll be this year. And we love it. And so we're really looking forward to it. So out of pocket comes Sunday, sorry.
Everybody's got to be somewhere. Matt?
Oh, and thank you for everything that you guys are doing. I appreciate you all.
Yes, I was invited to the Tropical Christmas Parade the other night. That's the first time I had an opportunity to participate in the parade. I was just blown away by the amount of work and preparation, and even that evening with the difficult weather, seeing must have been 1,000 children smiling and from underneath their scarves and their stocking hats. That was a wonderful event. So I'm not even sure all the people to thank for that, but that was a great event. Really enjoyed it. Appreciate the invitation, and thank you to there must be countless people that helped put that together. That was a wonderful event.
All right.
Along with Matt, I too attended the Tropical Christmas Parade, and the fleet guys did an amazing job with our golf cart. We were lit up like a fire truck, cop car, ambulance, and Santa sleigh. I mean, it was good. The participation was great. The fireworks were great. Weather, not so great. A little windy, but we suffered through it. And it's beautiful down at the beach. If you have the opportunity to drive down to the circles, see all the decorations all the way up and down the beach. Memorial Park is lit up. Compass Rose Park is lit up. We're celebrating Christmas around here, so looks good. And just want to wish everybody Merry Christmas. Staff, thank y'all for everything y'all do. And we'll see y'all on Friday and then after the New Year.
Ward 4.
Not much to report from me. Just want to say Merry Christmas to everyone and a Happy New Year, and thank you staff and everyone for all you do and the other fellow council members. So that's all I really have to report today.
All right, thank you. And I agree, the parade was really nice, but it was just nearly cold out there, and I don't normally say that, but it nearly got cold. But there were a lot of folks that seemed to be really having a nice time, and the float was great. Anybody that helped work on that thing, it was really, really nice. It was good being there.
All I did was turn Joe's loose on it, and Joe's work of art, so I love it.
He did a great job.
You did amazing.
It was really nice. All right, we are going to do executive session related to Texas Government Code Section 551.071, 072, 074, 076, 087, 089, and 0745. It will include evaluation of the city manager, municipal judge, and the city secretary. It is 8:30, and we are in executive session. Back in regular session.
Motion to adjourn.
Have motion to adjourn. We're adjourned.